For some reason, I think the audio is messed up. Um, because I have played this before, so I remember it a little bit. And that audio just isn't lining up. I don't know if that's a bug on my end or their end. So, audio may be a little disjointed. You should take a break then. I take another sip of soda, raising an eyebrow. And do what?
Me too.
Well, I have my hourly patrol to take care of. You could always tag along. You know what? Sure. As long as Vanessa doesn't see me, I guess. Moon's smile grew even ever so slightly at my statement, but it seemed like more of a genuine smile than his gremlin look from earlier.
Stay here. One of the staff bots alerted me to an intruder.
Yeah, that's like in the next scene, so I think the audio's messed up. I'll see if I can do anything about it after. I doubt that'll happen. The Pizzaplex is a big place, so the chance of her running into us are rather small. I know, but still.
Did she hurt you at all?
Trust me, it won't happen.
Good.
Besides, you need to take it easy for a while. You look like you're ready to pass out. I'd love to if I didn't have a job to do. The cable still attached to his back. Moon hovers ever so slightly above the ground before approaching me.
I'm sorry for
Not right now, you don't. Without another word, Moon wraps his arms around my torso before the cable lifts him up, at least 40 feet above the ground. Holy! Panicked, I cling onto him as I stare at the ground far beneath us. Moon doesn't seem to react, simply navigating through the air, carrying me with him.
You could have died.
Don't worry, I won't drop you. You better not! Moon clearly knows this place like the back of his hand, because it only takes a few minutes for us to reach the atrium, with the giant hologram of the Glamrock still active despite the Pizzaplex being closed for the night. We pass over a few security bots who pay us no mind. Occasionally one will look up at us and then continue on with the same blank expression as every other bot. Eventually I get used to being so high off the ground. Moon says nothing as he scans the area for intruders, thankfully seeing nothing out of the ordinary. Moon lands on a railing on the 3rd floor of the atrium, likely about to change directions and head somewhere else. That is until alarm starts blaring from one of his speakers, and he suddenly turns to look in a different direction. Hopping off the railing, Moon sets me down before hovering off the ground again. Stay here. One of the staff bots alerted me to an intruder. Before I can get another word in, Moon leaves, pushing off the railing to give himself a boost as he flies off. Sighing, I look up when I see another staff bot looking at me, seemingly confused. Just guessing by the way it stops and tilts its head when it sees me. It's hard to tell what these guys are thinking when they basically can't emote. You'll tell me if Vanessa's nearby, right? The bot stares. I stare back. I nod in understanding before going to sit in one of the booths at El Chips. Staring at the menu on the other side of the small restaurant, I remember something important. I haven't eaten anything since, this morning? Maybe that's why I feel so out of it. If only I could inhale the picture of food on the wall. I tried the next best thing and searched behind the counter for basically anything that's edible. I find an unopened bag of nachos. Good enough. I head back to the booth, opening the bag of chips and eating my makeshift lunch. Peering back into the atrium, the bot isn't there anymore. From where I'm sitting, it looks like the number of staff bots around seems pretty sparse in general. Maybe they're gone to wherever Moon is, not that I know where he went anyway. I don't think much of it, simply continuing to fuel up on chips while listening to the droning ambience of the many bright lights in the atrium. I can feel my ears ringing from silence. That and the sound of me eating the chips alone becomes deafeningly loud. Maybe I somehow got used to the daycare nonstop music loop already. It feels strangely empty here without it. The lack of ambience is almost unbearable. Standing up, I go to throw away the nearly empty chip bag. That's so loud. Ugh. One hand on my head as my vision goes blurry for a moment, as if I stood up too fast. Walking back to the railing, I lean against it, looking down and squeezing my eyes shut as I try to quell this nauseating feeling. When I open them again, my vision is still fading in and out. And is it just me, or does my vision seem weirdly red? Stumbling back, I look around for one of the staff bots for help, disoriented by whatever is happening to me. But instead of a staff bot, what I vaguely see approaching me from the right is a gray humanoid silhouette and two bright red eyes fixated on me. Intruder. Startled, I make a run for the stairs, hoping to find a staff bot somewhere nearby. My vision still hasn't fixed itself. In fact, it's gotten worse as I misstep and tumble down the first short flight of stairs. I force myself back up, using the railing for support, before something grabs the back of my shirt. I'm a fight back. I let go and try to swing at whoever grabbed me, missing due to my disorienting vision. Well, that didn't really work, now did it? I bump into the other railing before being dragged back up the stairs by one of my arms, my attacker having an iron grip on it. Looking up, I see someone clad in a gray rabbit costume, bright red eyes staring down at me with an eerie, large, unmoving grin. Let go, you bastard! The sound of my voice is completely drowned out by the strange sound in my ears. The face of the person fading in and out as my sight continues to worsen by the second. I feel like my head is splitting open from the noise. I can't even try to orient myself. Reduced to ragdoll, it gets harder and harder for me to try and escape as I'm dragged back into L chips. I helplessly try to grab onto the tiled floor, to no avail. The ringing is overpowered by the sound of my own heart pounding in my head at this point. We're nearing the kitchen at the back of the small restaurant, blocked off by a metal door. I'm running out of time. I try kicking my attacker, but they seem unfazed, using just one arm to drag me back. Their other hand wields a large kitchen knife. They're going to kill me. They're going to drag me into the kitchen and kill me. Where's Vanessa? Doesn't she know what's happening? Would she be able to find us? Would I be dead and buried before anyone even knew I was gone? I'm just barely able to cling onto the corner of the counter, trying to buy whatever time I can. I try calling for someone, anyone to help me, unsure if I can even be heard as my grip on the counter starts to slip. My attacker has both hands on the back of my shirt and is pulling hard. One of my hands slips from the counter. I can't hang on much longer. I'm going to die. Moon! Moon, help me, please! My hand slips from the counter, and I'm dragged back. I'm practically crawling at the floor, but the costumed stranger yanks me back before pushing the door open to the kitchen and throwing me in. There's no lights on in here, so I'm almost completely drowned in darkness as I land on the cold tiled floor, safe for the small beam of light coming from beyond the door. Looking behind me, I see that bit of light start slipping away as the attacker's silhouette starts to merge with the darkness, their red eyes being the only thing I see. And probably the last thing I'll see. The beam of light from beyond the door floods back into the room, and the gray rabbit is nowhere to be seen. My vision finally starts to clear up as I look towards whatever landed nearby. A different pair of red eyes looks back at me and lunges in my direction. I scurry backwards, panicked, until two familiar robotic arms grab me, pulling me back out of the kitchen and into the atrium. I can finally see clearly, and the ringing noise is completely replaced by my racing heartbeat. I stare out into nothing, even as I'm carried into the air. Flying back from the atrium to the daycare, Moon's grip on me is so strong that he's on the verge of crushing my spine. He finally starts to slow down as we pass over the daycare wall, the once eerie silence hanging over us. He makes a smooth landing on the floor, the cable on his back unhooking and retreating back to the ceiling as I'm placed on the ground. He doesn't let go, though. It almost feels like his arms are shaking, or maybe that's me. I can't see his face. He's slouched in a way where my head is almost resting on his shoulder, and he's staring at the floor. His arms finally loosen, as if he just let out a relieved sigh before letting go of me. I myself can't find words for what just happened. Whenever I open my mouth to speak, my mind completely blanks. Instead, I drop to the floor. My fight or flight is still kicked in, and my hands are shaking uncontrollably. Moon's expression darkens slightly. Does he want to say something? His faceplate turns slightly, and he walks over to something on the floor a few yards away. He silently picks it up and returns it to me. My flashlight. I'm pretty sure I can hear his fans revving up, and he looks like he's deep in thought. He sits down in front of me, resting his faceplate on the palm of his hand.
Locking this place up.
Did she hurt you at all? I fidget with the flashlight a bit. Battery's dead. No, thank God.
Whoever attacked you.
Good.
And bringing you with me is too risky.
I'm sorry for not being there sooner. It's fine.
Already did.
You could have died. Well, I didn't. You still showed up quickly enough that it didn't happen, so...
But I'm not taking any chances.
Barely. Why do you care so much anyway? I basically just got here, and well, you barely know me.
Still.
This is my job. I don't just look after the kids. Everyone that steps into the building is my responsibility, and that includes you. Moon suddenly gets back up and walks over to the massive doors by the desk. Where are you going? Locking this place up. Whoever attacked you is still in the building. I can't leave you alone here to go deal with it myself, and bringing you with me is too risky. I watch as Moon moves various objects in front of the door, from desk chairs to smaller play structures, basically anything decently heavy enough to barricade the door. Can't you just lock it? Already did, but I'm not taking any chances. Eventually, I'm able to stand up again and go over to the charging dock by the desk to recharge my flashlight. I'm guessing you'd rather get out of here sooner than later, right? Not in a rush to leave by myself, really. I live alone, so... Oh. Still, you can't stay here forever. Well, whenever you want to keep going with the generators, just say the word. Right. I remove my flashlight from the charging dock, and sure enough, it works. I turn it on and point it back at the structures. Shall we? Moon nods, and we waste no time finding the next generator. Thankfully, it works just fine now. With that over with, we go back to the desk to turn the lights back on. Speaking of, I wonder how Sun's taking all of this. Moon did say they can both see and hear everything happening, even if they're not the one piloting the robot body. I catch a glimpse of the time as I'm turning the lights back on. 2 a.m. The daycare is slowly lit up, and as usual, the music comes back. Even with the cheerful music, the mood remains heavy as ever. However, I'm given no time to think as I'm spun back around by a very worried Sun frantically checking me for injuries.
Oh my gosh! Are you sure you're okay? You poor thing! You must have been so scared! Oh, I'm sorry we weren't there sooner. If only we knew, we would have...
Don't worry, I'm okay. Sun, don't worry about it. I'm okay. Sun still looks guilty. He continues to check my arms and torso to see if I'm hurt, but at least he isn't pulling me around like a rag doll.
I have to worry. Keeping everyone safe here is my job. If I can't protect one person, then...
Sun is visibly distraught. His rays are practically drooping. Seems that didn't help much. It's a bit of a reach considering how tall he is compared to me, even when kneeling. But I managed to wrap my arms around Sun's torso, hoping that'll calm him down. Sun doesn't say anything, but instead hugs me back, his internal fans getting much louder. He has one arm around my torso and one hand softly on the back of my head. It's a gentle hug. It feels safe. We say nothing for a few minutes. I was trying to calm him down, but honestly, this hug is a hug comfort, a huge comfort for me too. No wonder they're trusted with kids. Even as an adult, I feel an odd sense of security around them. Considering what just happened, it feels nice. Question. What was Moon alerted to anyway?
Oh, the little boy snuck in to see Freddy again.
He seems irritated when he says that. Again?
Yeah, this isn't the first time the little rule breaker snuck in here.
Something tells me that security isn't as strict as you would think. Though, if a kid managed to sneak in more than once... But if he just wants to see Freddy, then I don't really see a problem with it. It's not like the kid's hurting anyone, and I doubt Freddy's gonna let him get into trouble. He seems almost playfully bitter. What did this kid even do? Maybe I should ask later, though. I have to keep going with the generators. I don't get very far, though, before I'm suddenly picked up by Sun. What the? Where are we going? Sun manages to carry me with one arm, using the other one to move various objects in front of the massive door.
Making sure no one's getting in here.
Can't you put me down, though?
No! After all that, there's no way I can leave you on your own now. What if that person finds you here and we're not around?
Sun, we're in the same room. If that person somehow got in, I'm pretty sure you'd notice. Looking up at Sun's face, I notice a long cable lowering from the ceiling and hooking onto Sun's back.
You heard Moon. We're not taking any chances.
We're suddenly jerked upwards, and I'm lifted into the air along with Sun. Albeit much faster and more recklessly than Moon. Oh my god, I can't fucking speak English. Hey, at least let me call Vanessa first. I don't think she even knows about that freak since the staff bots didn't react at all.
Oh gosh, you're right. Okay, but we're making it quick.
Sure thing. Sun suddenly changes directions in the air as we start heading back towards the desk. However, I think Sun tried dropping from this height way too early as we basically start free falling towards the ball pit. Oh shit!
Huh?
I'm just barely able to grab onto Sun before gravity takes me. We're both tangled in the cable though. Once again, we're stunned into silence. Just when I thought things were calming down, I feel my heart going a mile a minute from adrenaline, and Sun's internal fans are on full blast. I keep clinging onto Sun for dear life as we're slowly lowered into the ball pit. Clutching my chest with one hand over my racing heart, I'm able to get out of the tangled mess pretty easy. Sun is clearly having a hard time though, just thrashing in the tangled cable. Sun, chill out. Let me help you out of that.
No thanks. I'm fine. I can get out myself.
You don't have much practice with the cable, do you? I sigh, standing in silence for about a minute as Sun fails to get out himself. Sun. Sun finally stops, his faceplate drooping in defeat. Do you want my help now?
Fine.
Alright then, hold still for a sec. Getting him out of the cable isn't hard once I'm done. I unhook the cable from his back and let it retreat back to the ceiling. I give Sun a minute before I decide to speak again. You wanna get out of the ball pit now?
Yeah.
I can't tell if he's upset or embarrassed at what just happened as we exit the ball pit and make a walk back to the desk.
That's kind of why I don't use the cable, funnily enough. I usually just leave it to Moon.
Oh, really? Actually, I kind of get it now. Not to diss you or anything, but Moon seems to know what he's doing. I think. What he was doing, I think.
Yep, he has a lot more time to practice because of patrols. Plus being active whenever the kids are sleeping.
Ah. So he doesn't go free-falling and end up tangled in the cable?
Well, no. But I could do it just as well.
You gonna try it again? I can keep a timer for you. That's so mean. Not doubting that you just need more time. Hey, I'm not doubting that at all. You just need more time to practice. You tried your best, so I can't really be mad. Sun smiles sheepishly, his rays spinning a bit.
Well, I'm happy you think so.
Oh god, you're cute. He manages to be... How he manages to be this endearing is beyond me. He really is as sunny as his name. I can't hold back a smile as I go to pick up my phone from the desk. Glancing back at Sun, I pull up Vanessa's contact on my phone and hold it out for Sun to take. You want to call Vanessa for me? I can work on the next generator in the meantime.
Yes, please.
Sun wastes no time grabbing the phone and calling Vanessa, and I leave him to it as I go to sort out the next mess of cables. Oh my lord! This one? And this one. This one. Yay! Standing up straight, I stretch my arms over my head as I glance back at Sun on the phone. He has the device held in front of him, probably on speaker mode, and he seems concerned? Not that I was really paying attention to what he was doing just now.
There's no need for that. I'm sure you'll see what I mean if you look at the cameras. Maybe not right now, but whenever you have the time.
He's waving his other hand in front of him nervously, and his rays have shrunk a little bit. What did Vanessa say to him? Sun glances over at me for a moment before Vanessa starts talking again, and he sets his attention back on the phone.
If something really did happen, the staff bots would have let me know.
But what if they don't?
That shouldn't be possible. I believe that if it was just one bot, there's no way that many of them would just stop working out of nowhere.
Well, what if they didn't think the person was dangerous?
Son, that's not possible. They're supposed to go on, but they say someone that shouldn't be here. Look, I don't want to completely ignore what you're saying, but what you're telling me just doesn't add up. I'll ask them about it later. I have to go check on the kitty.
Before Sun can respond, Vanessa hangs up. His arms drop in defeat as I make my way over to him. He hands back the phone. Are you okay? Sun forces a smile and waves his hand in front of him nonchalantly.
Yeah, fine. Just worried.
Yeah, no kidding.
She thought it was this weird bug we had a while back. That maybe it was making me see things that weren't there.
A bug?
It's a long story. But she thought maybe I was hallucinating a rabbit we used to have here. When I told her the person was dressed like a rabbit.
What?
Yep, I tried telling her that it was real since you were there and...
There used to be a rabbit here?
Yeah. I don't know much about him other than his name was Bonnie. He was one of the Glamrocks.
Huh.
Yeah. The others don't really like to talk about it, so...
I'm guessing that's something else we can ask Vanessa about later.
Maybe.
Remembering what I'm supposed to be doing, I put my phone back in my pocket and go to the computer to shut the lights off for the third time. Halfway there, glancing at the little digital clock in the corner of the screen, I keep a mental note of the time. 3 a.m. I sigh, not wasting any more time in turning off turning the lights off, watching as the room dims around me, and my only source of light are the screens and the little charging station on the wall. Sorry, my eye itched, and I tried to read that while I could only look out of one eye. Yawning, I step back from the computer. I know I have to hurry up and get this done, but now that my adrenaline is starting to wear off, I don't know if I can. I sigh and glance back at Moon, who's giving me a knowing look.
Feeling tired again.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably a mix of the adrenaline and sugar starting to wear off, I think. Maybe I was hallucinating the rabbit after all. I smile slightly at my joke. Moon, however, seems less than amused, giving me a deadpan stare. I clear my throat, reading the room and taking my flashlight back out. I take my flashlight back out, making my way a few steps past the desk. However, when I look back at Moon, I notice the cable lowering behind him. He points a finger at me as he starts hovering off the ground.
Stay there. I'll be right back.
With that, he leaves, the cable allowing him to maneuver over the barriers of the daycare and disappear. Shrugging and lowering my flashlight, I stay put. Not like I was going anywhere anyway. I eventually decide to sit on the floor with my legs crossed and my chin resting on my palm. Since I have nothing better to do, I look around at my surroundings. Several towers of stacked foam cans, the sparkling floor, and large cutouts of the glam rock animatronics that decorate the place. For a place that's full of kids during the day, it's weirdly organized. Probably because of the sun. He did say that he never left this place, and I can imagine keeping it looking nice is a big reason why. I can't help but feel kinda bad, though. Sun and Moon's entire lives are in this daycare. I know they have each other, but I can't imagine spending all my time in such a small area. My train of thought is cut off when a pair of red eyes peer at me from beyond the barrier. I sigh, pushing myself back up. There you are, Moon. Are we gonna... A loud ringing hits my ears and I jump, dropping my flashlight. What? Covering one of my ears with one hand, I try to pick it back up. A familiar red haze overlays my vision. With it now back in my hands, I point it in the direction of the eyes. However, they disappear as quickly as they came, and the noise in my ear fades into nothing but the subtle ambience within the daycare. My arms drop to my sides. I hear the familiar sounds of gears and robotics. When I look up, Moon is already re-entering the daycare. I'm not even sure if what I saw was real, or my mind playing tricks on me due to stress. Either way, I try taking a deep breath to calm down my rapidly beating heart. As Moon approaches me, the cable unhooks from his back and retreats back up.
I wanted to do a quick check around the daycare, just to keep an eye on things. Also, I brought you this.
He gives me an open can of Fizzy Faz, and although reluctantly, I take it. So nothing out of the ordinary?
So far, no.
That's good. He stares at me for a moment as I take a long sip of soda. Somehow it tastes even sweeter than normal.
Something happened while I was away. Your heart's racing.
Well, Moon's expression softens as he waits for me to answer. I was over here waiting for you to come back, and over there, I point to where I saw them, just past the barrier. I saw those red eyes. I thought it was you at first, but then I started hearing this loud noise. Moon's eyes widened slightly. It was the same thing I heard when the rabbit lady attacked me, so Moon looks to where I'm pointing and takes a few steps towards it.
Did it look like she was trying to get in?
I don't know. She was just there. And right before you showed up, she just, vanished. I can hear Moon's internal fans getting louder.
Hopefully. That means she can't get in here.
Yeah, that would be
The
nice.
fact that she knows you're here isn't good, though.
Yeah, don't say! I take another long drink of the soda, using my other hand to point my flashlight towards the structures. Shall we now? Moon tilts his head at me.
Shouldn't you give it a minute?
Why?
I don't think trying to work with this level of stress is a good thing.
I'll be fine. I've managed to pass 12 hours on like 10 minutes of sleep. I'll live.
I can't say I'm surprised.
Moon gives a...
When I said this, all in charge of this place are known to splurge.
Moon gives me a bewildered look, sighing in annoyance. Look, just let me deal with this one generator, and after that, sure, maybe I'll take it easy for a bit. Moon raises an eyebrow, clearly not entirely believing me. Promise. I begrudgingly give in, for now. Moon sighs before nodding his head at the structures, motioning for me to follow him as he leads me to the next generator. I set the soda can on the ground by the structure before I follow Moon in. He plops down next to the generator, looking over at me.
Go on.
I nod, putting my flashlight down so I can test the generator. The generator's LEDs turn green as the mechanisms come roaring to life. Good, no problems. I did notice that my hand's holding the switch and is shaking a bit, though more than normal.
Something wrong.
What?
You're just staring at it.
Oh! I switch the generator back off and pick up my flashlight before making my way back out of the structure. After picking up the soda can I left on the ground, I wait a moment for Moon to follow, slightly tapping my foot on the ground. Moon stands back up, albeit still slouching, and gives me a concerned look.
Are you sure you're alright?
Yeah. Why? Moon points at my hands holding the flashlight. I didn't realize it, but I'm gripping the thing way tighter than I thought. I loosen my hold on it as I start walking back to the desk.
See why I told you to take a break now?
I roll my eyes. Yeah. Anyway. Moon stays silent, leaning back against the desk as I put down the soda and turn the lights on. I mark my progress and turn my flashlight off, watching as Sun sits on the desk, slightly kicking his legs back and forth.
So, break time.
I sigh. Can't believe I can't. I have to finish this.
Hey, you said you'd take a break after that one.
Sorry, but I can't keep dragging this out.
Come on, please.
I might make my way to the cables on the floor, being extra careful as I go to sit down since my hands are still shaking. A lot. Oh my god! Why is there 6 now? This one?
No.
What the? Sun suddenly grabs my wrist and practically drags me away from the wall.
You're shaking. It's not safe to do that now.
But that was the right one! I swear to God it was! Technically, he's not wrong. Hell, I'm practically vibrating. You sure that was a soda and not an energy drink that Moon gave me? I notice Sun's rays are shrinking a bit and he's avoiding eye contact. Sun, what did you do?
Okay, maybe I put some stuff in there. I thought it would help.
He says it so fast that his words start blending together, but I can still understand him. Seriously?
I'm sorry.
Sun lets go of my wrist, staring at the ground like a kicked puppy. I try to go back to the cables, only for Sun to drag me over to the desk again. Sun, really?
I know I messed up, but messing with cables and machines with shaky hands isn't safe.
I sigh. You really think so? Sun stares at me for a second before nodding. I raise an eyebrow at him, but I decide to stop resisting. Alright, fine. Sun doesn't say anything for a moment before suddenly picking me up. What?
1 second.
I notice the cable lowering. Good lord, not again! Sun, no.
I'll be careful this time.
The cable lifts us off the ground much more slowly this time. Okay, he isn't messing around this time. Since he's not rushing, the ride isn't nearly as reckless. We're only in the air for a few moments before the sun steps onto the small balcony that leads into his room. Okay, why are we here?
Just a precaution. That's all.
Sure. Taking a good look at the room behind us, it feels oddly lonely compared to the daycare. There's a small staircase leading into the space, which is only faintly illuminated by the bright fluorescent lights behind us. There's some fairy lights strung to the wall, but several of the bulbs are broken or dim. The floor is wooden and looks like it hasn't been swept in ages, and there's various random objects strewn around the room. Plushy, stools, foam shapes, and other things. In the corner next to a small chair is a broken staff bot, its body mangled and its head ripped off. I hear Sun give a nervous giggle, clearly noticing me staring at his, well, less than colorful living space.
Welcome to my room.
Huh? For someone so happy, this place feels sad. I don't mean that as an insult or anything, just the vibe I'm getting.
No, I get that. Normally we don't get visitors. We're so busy that we never really considered it.
Huh.
Well,
Sun goes and plops down onto a single beanbag chair in a corner of the room.
whatever you want to do up here, feel free.
Okay. I look around a bit, seeing if anything in particular catches my eye. One corner is covered in various drawings, most likely from the kids Sun and Moon look after on a daily basis. There's also a few messy rag dolls and other things made to look like them, placed neatly on a small table. In another corner, what appears to be a hole in the wall leads into another room. My eyes land on Sun again. The damaged staff bot rests in his lap as he tries to reattach its head. He doesn't even seem to notice me watching at all. Seeing how careful he's being with it makes me wonder how that bot got up here in the first place. Maybe I should leave that question for later. What's this? I point to the corner filled with drawings. Sun beams while he looks at it.
Those are all gifts from the kids. Mooney and I have been keeping each and every one of them.
Sun's head tilts, his fingers lightly tapping on the hardwood floor as he goes on about all the drawings and things the kids made specifically for him and Moon. Got any favorites? My eyes are direct towards a little felt plushie of Sun. The fact that it's handmade is evident, with buttons for eyes and dried white glue all over the seams.
Oh, what? I can't pick a favorite. I love all of them.
I stifle a laugh. That's sweet. Sun laughs nervously, but before he can say anything, the fairy lights give a brief flicker before dying out.
Oh, come on.
I just watch as they transform into Moon, who seems surprised.
Those cheap lights are probably burned out.
Ah,
I can't see I'm surprised. Don't tell anyone I said this, but people in charge of this place are known to splurge.
my place of work too, buddy. Nah, I'm not arguing with you.
I will give them some credit, though. If it weren't for them being so stingy, I might not even be here right now.
What?
Remember that bug you mentioned?
I nod. Moon leans back in the chair a bit, facing the ceiling.
I can tell you some things.
Sure. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious. It would definitely explain some things. Like how Moon got the red eyes and why the generators are in the play structures. I nod before dragging a small cushion a bit closer to where Moon is and sit down.
Where do I start?
Well, is that why they closed the daycare? How did you deal with it? Is that bug the reason they closed the daycare? I know the place was shut down for a while, but I didn't know why at the time, as that was a few months before I started working here. Moon
It
nods.
was a safety precaution. They needed time to fix whatever was wrong with me. So for a while, no one but the staff was allowed in here.
Ma. So the bug mainly affected you.
However, I would be lying if I said Sun wasn't affected. All the staff was using the generators to heal. Sun was left on his own for a while. I won't go into detail, but I can't imagine what it felt like for him. Sun would go weeks without seeing anyone, while still having me to heal with.
He sighs, arms spreading out onto the floor as he stares at the ceiling.
I should have fought against the bug harder than I did.
Well, that certainly clears some things up. But it still doesn't answer everything. I still have no idea what exactly the bug did to Moon, but from what I can tell, it sounds pretty bad. That and how the bug came about in the first place is still a mystery to me. Maybe now it's the time to ask? Oh, maybe this isn't the time to ask. You weren't in control? Well, you weren't in control of yourself, right?
No, I wasn't, but
Then stop being so hard on yourself. I'd say you're more than making up for it now, and I think Sun agrees with me.
yeah, he does.
Exactly. A small smile creeps onto Moon's face as he sits up.
If only the rest of the staff were just as nice.
You look so pretty.
How are you feeling about?
What?
Is all the extra sugar starting to wear out?
I completely forgot about that, even though that's why we're up here in the first place. I've stopped shaking, which is definitely a good sign. Yeah, I think so.
Alright then.
Moon gets up and walks to the balcony as the cable lowers to his level.
Ready to continue?
Yeah, one sec. Checking my phone for the time and any new notifications. I push myself up off the floor one hand on the curtain-covered wall for support. However, I feel something stick to my palm when I pull my hand away. Peeling it off with my other hand, I realize it's a piece of paper that's likely been taped to the wall. What catches my eye, though, is one word written in bold black letters. Missing. I don't get a good look at the small poster before Moon's voice snaps me out of it. Yeah. I quickly cover up the poster with the curtain before speed walking to Moon. The lights from the daycare shine onto the balcony, causing Moon to transform back into Sun, who waves at me. I pick up the pace a bit, going to stand next to him. Oh, picking up the pace, sorry. I'm dyslexic! Wasting no time, Sun picks me up and brings me back down to the desk. My mind wanders back to the poster. The only other detail I got from that was that the victim was 7 years old. Just a kid.
So, what do you think
Huh?
of what Moon told you about the bug?
Oh. I think it must have been really hard for both of you. Since Moon wasn't in control of himself and you were basically isolated in here for, what, weeks? Sun sighs as we walk to the desk, unhooking the cable from his back.
I don't really like thinking about it, but yeah. It does make me appreciate how things are now, though. It also makes me appreciate having Mooney around, too. Not having him around for that long was not fun.
I shrug. Hey, I didn't say you two... I'd say you two at least learned something from it. Not that it's completely cancels it out, but you know. Sun nods, smiling brightly as usual. I sigh, glancing at the remaining cables. I take my phone out of my pocket to check the time quickly. 5 a.m. Well, I'm officially pulling an all-nighter. Nothing I'm unfamiliar with. Okay. Where's one? Okay. Two. I have a feeling that even if I click the right one or the wrong one, he was still gonna bring me up there. But yeah, even if I picked the right or wrong wire, I'm pretty sure he still would have brought me up there. I stay seated on the floor for a minute, stretching my arms above my head as I lay down on the cold, hard tile. Sleeping in that chair definitely didn't do my back any favors. I closed my eyes for a minute to block out the fluorescent lights pouring into my eyes. Not that it really helps. Hints of orange and yellow managed to break through. I stay like that for a minute until something blocks out the light. Opening them, I see Sun standing over me, hands on his knees.
Are you okay?
I toss an arm over my eyes. Yeah, all good.
Need a hand?
I hear his footsteps as he moves around me. A good enough sign to peek out from under my arm as any. Sun gives me his outstretched hand. Breathing out a laugh, I set my arm beside me and use the other to grab his. He smiles brightly as he pulls me up, putting his other hand on my shoulder for balance. Thanks.
No problem.
Sun gives me a pat on the shoulder before starting to walk back to the desk. I'm about to follow him, but I stop when I notice something. A few handprints on his back along with bits of what I'm assuming is paint and marker ink. Sun?
Yes.
Is that paint on your back?
Oh, that's nothing. You know how kids are.
Sun laughs bashfully, waving his hand. Oh, yeah, I figured. Does the maintenance staff help you with that, at least? All he does is fidget with his hands, eyes towards the computer. Well, that answers it. Eyebrows furrowed, I follow Sun back to the desk. The staff really can't be bothered, huh? I lean over the desk, resting both arms on it as I look up at him. I don't know, the way you've talked about the staff here, do they really care that little about you and Moon? Sun shrugs, trying to keep the mood up.
Well, we're not for everyone. Some don't mind us. Others do. But we try.
Uh-huh. So you're sure it's fine? Sun nods, the bells on his wrist emitting a soft chime as he gives a double thumbs up. You don't think whoever is at Parts and Services would be more on top of things? Or you'd think who's over at Parts and Services would be more on top of things?
Well, I'm sure they're busy. There's no need to bother them.
Every part of Sun's body is giving off a different signal, his hands waving everything off, his rays shrinking back, and the smile he wears seems forced. Something wrong?
No,
I blink. Sun clearly knows that I'm not convinced.
just they're busy enough as is. Wouldn't want them worrying about us.
Is this about the bug? Sun staring at the floor, one hand fidgeting with the ribbons around his wrist. He nods. Well, you want to talk about it? If not, it's...
No. We already let you in on it. It's only fair that I tell you some things too, right?
If you insist.
Well, while the daycare was closed, we weren't really seeing anyone. And of course, the staff didn't stick around long when they had to come in here. They mainly stopped by to install the generators and make sure they were working. To keep Moon away. And I heard some of them talking once. One of them asked if they really needed to keep both of us around after.
Oh. So that's why he doesn't like Parts and Services. He's still worried that they're going to get rid of Moon.
Everything's
That's understandable.
I don't know if I can handle being completely alone here.
Moon did mention Sun being isolated for a while. But if the staff did all that just to keep Moon at bay, huh. Well, you clearly don't like the idea of being separated like that. Sun nods. But hey, imagine if instead Moon just had his own body.
What?
You know, you both get your own bodies and you don't do the thing where you switch when the lights are turned off and on, you know? I shrug. Sun seems to be deep in thought.
If that happened.
I can hear the gears turning, literally.
Oh my gosh, I can finally hug him!
I jumped slightly, not expecting Sun to shout like that. Well, someone has his priorities set. But yeah, there's food for thought.
We can't eat though.
Really?
Yes? Wait, why would we?
Just, I heard stories about one of the glam rocks eating trash. I thought maybe...
What?
Nothing. To be fair, that would explain why their mouth doesn't move. Or doesn't open. Maybe I should try steering this conversation back on track. So, how do you feel about things are now? How things are now? I fidget with the scroll button on the computer mouse. Glancing at the time, we're already almost halfway through the hour. Didn't think my shift would include this much talking. At least that makes this job more interesting than sorting cables in silence.
I can definitely say I like how things are. It feels nice knowing everything is mostly back to normal.
That's good, at least. Sun suddenly grabs my shoulders and forces me to face the computer.
Keep going then. I don't want to keep you from your responsibilities for too long.
Fair enough. I look back at the time and sigh as Sun sits on the desk again. For fuck's sake, I would have inhaled a whole bottle of melatonin pills if I knew I'd be up this late. Sun seems to do a double take, pointing at me like he wants me to say something before backing off. What?
Language!
Sorry. I raise an eyebrow, cracking a slight smile at his antics. Son, I'm an adult and there's no one around.
I know, just force of habit.
I snicker at that. Even when he's not working, he has a filter. That's cute. That's kind of cute. Sun says nothing for a moment, his rays spinning as he sits cross-legged on the desk.
What?
I shrug, checking my phone for any notifications. Just the fact that you don't cuss at all. You definitely could. It's not like you'd get in trouble for it. But you just, well, don't.
Well, I have to. I'd rather that than risk saying something bad in front of the kids out of habit.
How about Moon? Does he have a 24-hour filter?
Well, I think the bug affected his filters a bit, so... It's not fun.
It kinda is. Sun silently puts both hands on either side of my head before gently making me turn to face the computer before letting go. I roll my eyes once, cracking a smile at his antics. Alright. See you in a bit. The usual lights out, Moon's out, sitting cross-legged on the desk.
Drop it.
So about that filter.
Yes, I can say fuck. What about it?
I blinked, not expecting that. At least not expecting him to do that so soon. Nothing. I step away from the desk, feeling a headache coming on when I start walking towards the play structures. Thankfully, it's like a normal, I only slept for 10 minutes headache and not a weird rabbit lady about to kill me headache. Never did I think I'd be happy for my headaches to be from lack of sleep. As if this night couldn't get any weirder. Moon hops off the desk desk and catches up with me. Honestly, I think I deserve workers' comp for this. Because I'm definitely not getting paid enough to barely survive nearly being murdered by a woman in a rabbit onesie.
Don't joke like that.
Shh! I'm coping. Moving on.
That aside, if you're lucky if they even believed you.
Moon makes a gesture asking me to follow him, and I tag along as he guides me towards the fourth generator.
Not that it's your fault. There isn't no what you would call urgent. Again, don't tell anyone I said that. I'm not trying to get scrapped anytime soon.
Yeah, good plan. I can faintly see the red light of the next generator behind the frame of the center structure. Just one more after this, and I'm home free. One more, and I'll get to leave. I'm leaving not knowing when or if I'll see these two again. Might as well get any questions out of the way now. Hey, random question. I'm definitely gonna play through this again and choose some different options just because I want to see the outcome. But I'm really curious as to what it made him do. The staff put these generators to deal with you, right? Moon says nothing for a bit, doesn't even look at me as we make our way up the structure. He nods. Really hoping this doesn't upset him. What happened exactly? Like, what did you even do? It couldn't have been that bad, right? Silence. Moon stops. I also stop, remaining just a few feet away. I wait for him to say something. Anything. Moon? Nothing. He keeps his back turned to me.
It's better if they don't see.
What? Moon, it couldn't have been that bad.
And if it was,
I can't find a response for that. But if it really is as bad as he says... No, there's no way. I mean, did you say... You did say you had no control when...
drop it. I'd rather not think about it. Not now.
Can I at least ask why?
I don't like talking about it.
I keep quiet as Moon continues guiding me. My mind wanders back to the poster I saw in his room. I'm hoping that I'm just overthinking this and the poster being in there is just an unfortunate coincidence. However, my thoughts are cut off when Moon suddenly turns and sits right next to the generator.
You're okay.
I nod, shuffling over and flipping the switch, listening to whatever motors and mechanisms are inside. Power on as the LED light flickers to green. 4th down, 1 to go. I turn off the generator as Moon makes a head start back out, and I scramble to follow him. Moon stands up straight, letting out what sounds like a sigh as he stretches his arms above his head. For a moment, I remembered how tall he and Sun actually are, just as he goes right back to his usual slouch stance. Moon notices me looking and tilts his head slightly.
What?
Christ, you're tall! Moon looks at me confused, like if I'd asked if the sky is orange.
That's it.
Well, yeah, didn't really think about it until now, but my god, you're built like a whole giraffe. Moon snickers at my comment, leaning back against the structure behind us.
Should I take that as a compliment?
Yes. I'm flirting with a robot! Leave me be! I am happy. Moon crosses his arms, looking down at me while he waits for my response. Oh? Oh no. Jesus Christ. Why is he looking at me like that? This is very awkward for me. Yeah. I gave him an awkward thumbs up as if I didn't just forget how the English language works. Moon shakes his head, clearly entertained by my embarrassment. No! No, don't do that! You fucker! He giggles to himself as he starts walking back to the desk. Jesus Christ! Am I really flirting with a robot right now? Yes, we are, and I am very proud of it. Shut up! Leave me be! Maybe it's about time I do some serious introspection. Or I pretend that's entirely normal in hopes that this happens again. Oh my god, X, no! Focus! I quickly snap myself out of whatever I was just experiencing. Of course, I follow him back, stopping at the computer.
Last one.
I know. Last one. Feels kind of weird knowing it's almost over. Earlier, it felt like I was making no progress, and now I'm about ready to leave for the night. Glancing at the clock, reads 6 a.m. With my hands on the mouse, and I stare at the screen with the option to turn the lights back on. Maybe it's just paranoia over something bad happening when I stepped out the door, but part of me doesn't want to leave yet. Even though I already know I can't stay forever. I guess Moon caught me staring into space, though, as he waves a hand in front of my face. I blink, snapping back to reality. Huh?
You look like you were spacing out.
Oh, well, you'd be right about that. We stand in silence for a minute before Moon speaks again. Yeah?
Do you think we'll see each other again after this?
I don't know what I can say to that. I don't make those decisions, but considering how Sun and Moon have been to me, it would be nice to see them more often. Actually, thinking about it makes me remember something. Well, I don't make those choices here, but I know that the Glam Rocks all have their designated mechanics. I just barely noticed Moon's expression brighten ever so slightly. Maybe if I get more time here, I could ask about it.
If it helps, Sonny and I could put in a good word for you.
That would definitely help, thanks. I look back at the screen, feeling a bit of new motivation. Ready? Mood nods, and I turn the lights back on, wasting no time getting to the last few cables that need sorting. Now there's 8 of them? Why? You fuckers. Ah! Where's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There. Before I can even move, Sun picks me up and places me on my 2 feet himself. Looking up, I see him smiling down at me, his hands on my shoulders. Hey, Sun.
Hello.
So, what do you think of my little designated mechanic idea? Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
It's a great idea, but until then, please stop by whenever you can, okay?
Sun's expression brightens, his razor retracting and expanding in what I think is safe to describe as joy. We both stand in silence for a moment, and I glance back at the computer. All I have left is to turn the lights off, test the last generator, and then I'm home free. I think Sun notices my gaze as he lets go of my shoulders and slightly nudges me to the computer.
Go on. I'm sure you want to go home, right?
I shrug. Would be nice to go and pass out for a few hours. How about you, though?
Well, I won't be leaving anytime soon. I still have plenty to do to prepare for tomorrow when we reopen.
That makes sense. I decide to quit stalling and turn off the lights for the last time. Sun standing behind me as I do so. As usual, the daycare is cloaked in a drowning ambience, and I can clearly hear the attendance mechanism behind me as Sun transforms into Moon again. You ready? Moon nods, already walking ahead.
Small question. You mind if we walk you out of here? Just in case that person is still around somewhere.
As I follow him, I get flashbacks to just a few hours ago. Yeah, I'd appreciate that, thanks.
It's the least we can do.
The last generator is at ground level, so it doesn't take long for us to find it. I still have to tell Vanessa about the whole thing later, too.
That's true.
Whenever I come back here, I'll keep you and Son updated. Scooting over to the generator, I flip the switch. To my absolute surprise, it works. After switching it off, Moon and I exit the structure in silence. So, this is it, huh? Moon nods as he walks back to the desk. I follow. I look at the computer screen before glancing back at Moon. I'll be seeing you soon then.
Hopefully.
Hey, even if I'm not going to be working in here anytime soon, I can always just visit as a guest, you know?
I'll be looking forward.
Yeah, me too. Right as I'm about to turn the lights on, Moon hugs me from behind and arms wrapped around my shoulders. I don't necessarily mind though, and I place my free hand on one of his arms as I turn the lights on. The daycare is lit up again and I watch as Moon transforms into Sun. He doesn't say anything for a minute before backing out of the hug. So, ready to head out?
I guess. This would be my first time out of the daycare, which is exciting.
Yep. I pick up my stuff, do one last check, and head for the door. Sun goes ahead, probably to move some of the makeshift barricade out of the way. Jesus! Fucking Christ, that scared the shit out of me! Why? His alarm stops him in his tracks. We exchange worried looks. Sun runs up to me, picking me up while the cable lowers and hooks onto his back. Wasting no time, he brings me to his and Moon's shared room. Almost messed up the landing before placing me on the ground and hopefully out of harm's way.
Stay here. We'll be back.
Okay. I can't get another word in before Sun leaves. The nighttime sequence active in the rest of the Pizzaplex as I watch him transform back into Moon from a distance. Noticing the one door that leads out of the room, I block it with the beanbag chair and a few other things just in case. However, as I'm doing that, I remember the hole in the wall I spotted earlier. A hiding place? Forcing myself through the small gap, I drop to the floor on the other side like a sack of potatoes. With a face full of dust, I push myself back up. I use all the boxes I can to cover up the hole and stop any light from leaking. All I can do is wait now, trying to calm myself down until Moon or Sun returns. The occasional sound effects from the arcade machine in the corner catch my attention. A potential distraction? The game isn't too loud, but I'm still wary about this potentially giving me away. Until I remember the electrical tape I also brought with me. I decide to cover up the speakers with it, and at least give the game a try, now that I actually have my wallet with me. After brushing the dust and dirt off my clothes, I insert a quarter into the machine before the game starts for what is most likely the first time in a decade or so. The game itself isn't bad. It very much reminds me of Flappy Bird, but way more forgiving. The little sun and moon in the corner of the screen certainly helps to lift my mood a bit. I'm able to make some progress to keep my surroundings in mind, making sure I listen for anything suspicious. Nothing of the sort happens, so I continue with the game. Maybe some random burglar decided to try their luck or something. Wouldn't it be the weirdest thing to have happen by a long shot? I smile slightly at the mental image of a poor masked burglar coming face to face with Moon and freaking out. However, my train of thought is cut off when I notice something out of order. A weird purple purple box towards the bottom of the screen. wondering if it's some kind of glitched item. I let Balloon Boy fall towards the bottom of the screen and try to pick it up. However, what I'm met with is a Balloon Boy phasing through the obstacles as the visuals are coated in a fiery orange color, the sun in the corner taking a weird dark appearance. The screen freezes on this visual change as distorted music continues to play. Pressing the buttons and moving the joystick does nothing. Shit, I broke it. Is this what I get for touching a weirdly glitched box in a game that hasn't been touched since the Stone Ages, probably? Groaning in annoyance, I step away from the machine, debating on whether I should take a nap on the dusty, uncleaned floor until either sun and moon come back, or morning comes and Vanessa lectures me again.
Wait, don't leave yet.
What the fuck? I jump a whole 2 feet in the air, placing a hand over my rapidly beating heart as I back further away from the machine, still stuck on the broken visual.
There's nothing to be scared of, I assure you.
Is the game talking to me?
Still shocked? I suppose that's fair.
What the hell are you?
Give me just a moment.
What the fuck? As if this couldn't get any weirder, a hand starts reaching out from the game, appearing glitchy and broken like the game itself. Panic, I grab the nearest item, a Chica plush, and chuck it at the screen. The plushie phases through the hand, but it dissipates anyways. Actually, now that I think about it, the hand looks a lot like Sun and Moon's, except it's a darker brown and red color.
What? Alright, that was just rude.
Answer the question? The voice sighs and I see something pop up on the screen. A familiar-looking celestial robot coated in dark, warm colors and sprouting 4 arms with bells and ribbons tied to the wrists.
See?
Its face looks very familiar to the messed-up sun visual. Even if I were to scratch and claw and search, there are no words for me to find for this, although I am considering crawling back through the hole and pretending I never saw this.
Come on now, am I really that frightening?
The hell? How?
Heard Moon mention it earlier.
Am I talking to a sentient glitch right now? I thought nothing could top nearly being killed by a rabbit with a knife. Oh, how wrong I was.
You may call me Eclipse.
Oh, how creative. You're not gonna possess me or something, are you?
Not unless you have. Besides, you're too far.
Okay, thanks for the advice. Have a nice life. I pick up my stuff back, about to turn and head out before this gets any weirder.
Wait, allow me one more question. Please.
Okay. Hell no, I'm not buying whatever you're trying to sell me.
Look, at least let me speak. If you really wish to opt out, you can leave this room and forget you ever saw me. All I ask for is a bit of it.
Why would I want to help you? With what?
Well,
Eclipse starts to stick one of his forearms out the screen. However, it only lasts a few seconds before dissipating, separating into a glitch-like particle and fading away.
as you can see, I'm bound to this machine. Without a physical body to move around with, I'm essentially trapped in this room until the higher-ups inevitably decide to bulldoze it and replace it with a warehouse. All I ask for is help finding another body, so I can finally leave this cursed room. As long as it can move around, I don't care what it is. However, I do have some preferences.
Such as?
Is it not obvious?
With all 4 arms, Eclipse gestures to himself.
If possible, I'd like to coexist with your new friend.
Sun and Moon?
Yes. They already managed to share a body with one another. I'd like to think there's room for one more. Would you help me with that?
I want to say hell no. Something about this feels really wrong. I've had enough weirdness and bad things happen for a lifetime. I don't need to get roped into whatever this guy's doing. Hell no. I don't trust you, and honestly, I'd prefer to move on with my life without owing favors to sentient video game glitches, thanks. I tossed my stuff through the hole in the wall before starting to crawl through myself.
Your choice. Your choice.
You creepy fuck! Once I'm back in the main room, I pick up my stuff just as Sun lands on the balcony.
We're back!
Hey, so what happened?
Oh, just a robber that didn't know any better. I think Moon made them seriously reconsider breaking in here.
Good. Sun holds his arm out, waiting for me.
I think it's about time you got home, though. Next time, please get proper rest before coming into work.
Yeah, I will. Trust me, I learned.
Good.
I go to Sun and he picks me up before bringing me out of the daycare. Albeit a bit slowly, so as to not cause another tangled situation. I try to forget about Eclipse, hoping I could go to bed and wake up forgetting he ever existed. All while Sun looks down at me, giving me his usual smile. Hidden in, oh dear, this is certainly interesting. Thank you for playing. Alright, so that sums up the first go-through of After Hours. I'll probably go through and I'll do some different options there, seeing as how I got the secret end, and I believe there are 3 endings. So, I'll try and get those other 2 in the next video. Alrighty. Bye, everyone!
Wish all the hashtags, likes, and tweets will find a way to get lost. Yeah, and when I pull up to the scene, I wonder what the hell is the cost. And yeah, oh no, you never seen nothing like this before. Yeah, but this is different. You're hot and certified.